This is your boy Basement Boxing Talk coming to you live. We're gonna play this intro and get started.
He say, Basement Boxing Talk. You know I'm a warrior, right? Fuck that, I'm a champion. Basement Boxing Talk. Left, right, jab in the hook. Better protect your jaw. 12 rounds if you can last. Better protect your fall. I got hits like Mayweather. You hit that round of applause. No question, the problem solved. Basement Boxing Talk. Left, right, jab in the hook. Better protect your jaw. 12 rounds if you can last. Better protect your fall. I got hits like Mayweather. You hit that round of applause. No question, the problem solved. I'm feeling cocky. I hit a thing to beat the ring, a boof up like I'm Rocky. ASAP, any opponent think they can stop me. I stay stride, chop, tryna learn my moves so you can copy. You gotta give it your all. Gotta give it your all. When you're back against the wall. When you're back against the wall. When you the one people call. When you the one people call. To keep greatness involved. To keep greatness involved. Basement Boxing Talk. Left, right, jab in the hook. Better protect your jaw. 12 rounds if you can last. Better protect your fall. I got hits like Mayweather. You hit that round of applause. No question, the problem solved. Basement Boxing Talk. Left, right, jab in the hook. Better protect your jaw. 12 rounds if you can last. Better protect your fall. I got hits like Mayweather. You hit that round of applause. No question, the problem solved.
This is your boy Basement Boxing Talk coming to you live. It's been a minute, and I hope everybody is doing good on this weekend. It's Sunday. Usually the show is on Saturday. I haven't been doing the show for a while. Had to take a little time off. I was kind of disgusted with boxing. Salute Bruce Goes. Good brother Bruce Goes in the building. Salute good Bruce. Salute. How my good brother Brandon.
Hey, what's going on about him? What on, Basement? You doing good?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I cannot complain today.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I can't complain either, brother. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Oh yeah, it has been. Are you? I don't know. Are you watching the Jake Paul show tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. You gonna watch it?
Nah, I don't. I don't watch MMA versus boxing. If it's, I watch two boxers, but I don't watch two MMA. I don't watch an MMA guy fight a boxer. It's just not interesting to me because it's like. It's like, okay, one guy is trained in one way, the other guy is trained the other way. So it's not really interesting to me. I don't hate it. It's just not something I just doesn't really give me a reason to, you know?
Now listen to this. The only reason why I am watching it is because I'm not paying for it.
Oh, well, okay,
I
that's a
wouldn't pay
different
for
story. Yeah.
it. You feel me?
Yeah, that's a different story there. If it's free, then it's me.
Right, right. It's something to watch. But yeah, I definitely would not be paying for that type of fight. Yeah, because I'm not really interested in it. I just want to see the two women boxers that they on that card.
Yeah, Serrano and what's her name? That's gonna be a good fight.
Right.
Which I think that's good because I actually like Serrano. She's a really she can really box. She is somebody that people really are sleeping on in women's boxing, and the girl got hands, and I'm happy to see her get the opportunity to really build her fan base.
Hey, the good brother Black Star Sports 2 is in the building.
What's going on, my brothers, man? Been a minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's been a minute.
Hey, we back on the scene, man. Back on the scene. How my brothers doing?
Doing all right. How about?
Yeah, I can't complain, man. Can't complain.
Yes, indeed, man. Hey, yeah, I'm glad Brandon on here with us today, man. Actually, I'm gonna talk to you about a little something afterwards.
Sure, no problem. Just reach out to me or whatever. No worries at all.
That'll work. That'll work. Yeah, man. I've been out of the loop, man, here for the last couple months.
It's cool. It's cool. Not to break the discussion we was talking. Hey Brandon, ain't the woman that's fighting today? Ain't she like 40-1?
You know what? Let me check this on his record. I don't know the exact record, but
Because I know I was
look it up
listening.
real quick and see.
Okay, I know I was listening to some things. They was talking about she 41, and they trying to compare her to Clarissa Shields. And I'm like, man, maybe if they can just come up with a neutral weight that they can meet at, that'll be one hell of an achievement for Clarissa Shields. Not only despite everything she's already done in boxing already. You familiar with what I'm talking about, Black Star?
Who's fighting today? You know, I'm a little out of the loop here lately, fellas. So I'm trying to get back in. You know.
Well, Amanda Serrano, she's 40-1, by the way.
Right.
She's fighting tonight. So you know, she's fighting the chick from Mexico, Mercado. The only thing is with Serrano is that she's just too small, man. She really, I don't see how Clarissa could lose that much weight. And how Serrano could actually move up that much weight and they could find a weight to fight at, because Serrano's like 130 pounds, 126 pounds.
Right,
and Clarissa's like 150. That's just
yeah. That's way far fetched.
Hey, she trying to do it.
Well, no, that's even worse than Manny Pacquiao. That's like Manny Pacquiao moving up to fight Canelo. It's like, dude, you would have to put on so much weight, or have to lose so much weight that it just, I don't even see how it would. I don't know where they can meet up at without giving away the advantage.
Right. I respect that. Hey, so let me get you guys' thoughts on what the WBA is doing. When the WBA is taking back a lot of their titles. And they said Tank just vacated his WBA title yesterday.
Yeah, he vacated his lightweight title.
So what you think about the WBA taking some of these title belts away? Some belts that people feel that aren't necessary.
Well, they're taking the regular belts away, or the super title, or how are they doing that? I know they're getting like the international and stuff. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, what they're doing is I guess to first say, I think it's a good idea. I think I still don't care about how they tried to screw over Michael Fox on that PBC show. I still think they should be investigated for that, because that was just blatant corruption. But I do think, and you got to realize, it's been like 20 years of people saying, look, can you minimize the number of belts you have? So I'm happy to see that they're finally trying to make some more legitimacy in their division, their sanctioning body. The only thing that I want to see them do is say, look, let's make our ranking system more transparent and understandable for people. That's what I want to see them do as well.
I respect that. The good brother Bruce Goes in the building. Salute, my good brother.
What's up, Basement? How you doing, my brother? Black Star, right, man. I haven't seen you in a long time, my brother. Peace and good to see you. And nice to meet you, Brandon.
Hey, same to you, good brother.
Pleasure.
Yes, indeed, man. Hey, I appreciate that, there, good brother Bruce Goes, man. Hit me with that link, man. I tell you, man. Life get in the way sometimes, man. You got so many things to deal with sometimes, man, and you have to step away and handle the business a little bit, man. And it means a lot when you look back, man. You see a cat reach out to you like that, man. I really appreciate that, good brother. Made my day.
You weren't around, and I just wanted to reach out and let you know that we're still out here caring about you. And, you know, whenever you're getting back online, man, you know, and like you said, there's so much happening in life. A lot of people think the internet is their entire life, man. You know, they don't realize this is a small part of it, man. There's the real enemies out there, bro. You know what I'm saying, man?
Big facts, man. And 21 has been one hell of a year. That's all I have to say. One hell of a year. But you know what, man? We done grabbed the hold of the reins and we done pulled on them, man, and we're getting things back in the right direction and things starting to slow down and calm down and hey, getting more back to normalcy. So, hey, you know, thank God for that.
Absolutely. Thank God for that. And I'm looking forward to the boxing tonight, you know, whether it's going to be a freak show, you know, the Peter, Paul, and Mary concert, whatever you want to call it, man. To me, it's a fight. We got Daniel Dubois fighting on the undercard. We have Tyson Fury's, I don't know if it's his nephew or his cousin, whatever, Tommy Fury. And then we got Serrano on the card. I mean, this is going to be interesting to say the least. You know, I'm not going to pay a nickel for it, but I'm going to sit back and enjoy it, man. I got some nice Bubba Kush to enjoy tonight, man. And this is
man. See that there?
Nice little this evening. Yeah.
That's what I need right there, bro.
I wish I could reach out to you, my brother.
Man, that is some Tommy Fury boxing match. That's got to be Comedy Central right there. I can't wait to see what he looked like, man. He looked like straight. Oh my God!
I've never seen him fight before. In fact, I've never seen him. Just pictures of him. I've never even seen him.
Entertainment, bro. It's gonna be entertainment for you, Bruce. You got to check him out.
Oh, for sure, bro. You know, kind of like WrestleMania on a Sunday. It's just the same thing to me. You know, the boxing, the undercards are real, but you know, this main event. This is fantasy. You know, this is YouTube. Fucking bullshit. It's just going to be interesting to see how far this Jake Paul goes. You know, I mean, you can't really deny the kid anything. He's got 3 professional trainers. He's driving around in a Lamborghini. He's got more money coming out of his pocket than I'll ever see in my life. I mean, man, what is he, 23 years old? God bless him.
Yeah, you know, man, I'm jealous. I'm jealous as hell. I ain't even going.
I hear that, bro.
You know, you remember when I used to call him out on here? You remember that, right?
Oh, dude, not me, bro.
I was trying to intercept some of that money, bro.
Hey, if the people are going to give it to him, you know, like Bonham and Bailey said, there's a sucker born every minute, man. So, hey.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Tyrone in the building, man. Salute to you, Tyrone. Yes,
Tyrone, my brother, yeah. Good to see you,
man. It's good to be back on here, man, with everybody, man. I've been missing this, to be honest with you, man. But you know, I am a little out the loop, man. I even missed the Manny Pacquiao Ugas fight, bro. So you know, I'm really, you know, I'm not used to being this out of the link. So,
man, the fallout they were getting from that fight is ridiculous.
Yeah,
you know, it's crazy.
The crazy thing is, I'm glad he brought that up. I'm gonna get you guys' opinion on that fight. We can start with Bruce. What was your opinion on the Manny Pacquiao Ugas fight?
Oh, see, you know, that's almost what I expected, because I once Errol Spence pulled out of the fight, you know, and I'm not going to say anything against Errol Spence. That to me, that's a legit injury. You don't mess around with your eyesight. You know, say what you will. That's a totally different issue. And you know, he's out of the fight now. Ugas. He hit the lottery, man. He got everything fell into place for him. He got to fight the legendary Manny Pacquiao, maybe Manny Pacquiao's final fight. And now, once he won that fight, he didn't only hit the lottery, man. He hit the mega ball at the same time. So his future is golden. Now Manny's claiming leg cramps and you know, he wasn't as old. You know, he's 42 years old. He is a living legend. I got to give him all the credit in the world. Hall of Fame fighter. But you know, it's time to ride off into the sunset, man. He gave us a great career. Manny fought everybody they put in front of him. I really don't think it was his fault that Errol Spence wasn't there, but I think if Errol Spence was there, Errol would have beat the shit out of Manny. I mean, he thinks he got humiliated in this fight. Oh, Errol would have went out on a stretcher. And you know, I mean, this kid Ugas, he had the perfect plan. He boxed. He had the jab. He had that snappy right hand behind the jab, and then he had this crazy. It was like an overhand right hook kind of a thing, and he must have hit Manny 20 times with that punch. It went around his glove, and you know, Manny couldn't get settled in. Manny couldn't use his footwork. Manny was basically reduced to an old fighter, and you know, he was off by a fraction of a second. It almost reminded me in a strange way of that fight we had a week before with with the other Cuban, Rigondeaux and Casemiro. You know, it was much more quality fighters than that, but it was almost the same thing. One guy couldn't touch the other one, and the other one almost didn't want to finish off the other guy. So to me, I think Manny should just take this as a loss, and he has nothing to be ashamed of. He fought a good fight with the Super World Champion. So man, ride off into the sunset, do your politics, man. Shout out to Manny, shout out to Ugas. This opens up the welterweight division. I want to see Errol Spence get better. I want to see Crawford get into a serious fight with our man Sean Porter. Yeah, let's see that fight happen. We've all been talking about it, man. The welterweight division is fire right now, and then we got Boots Ennis and we got Virgil Ortiz nipping at their heels, man. It's good times. So Manny, step out of the way, retire in grace, and let these young lions all fight each other. Let's have a fantastic welterweight tournament, man. That's what I'd like to see. But no, the Manny and Ugas fight, to me, I had no disappointments with it. And Manny should just retire. Ugas move on to I can't say bigger and better things, because there's not many bigger and better things than Manny Pacquiao. But go on and make your generational wealth.
Exactly, man. I tell you though, one thing I have to agree. When you said how lucky Ugas is, man, I swear, man, this guy literally just, and we talked about this months ago about what these fighters needed to do to position themselves to get in the best position, and this guy literally, not even of he didn't make a conscious decision. It just so happened that way, and then everything around him just came into play for him and just fell in his lap perfectly. All of a sudden, you wake up one day, you're the WBA super champion. All of a sudden, you're fighting Manny Pacquiao. What? It wasn't even no negotiations about it. You just happened to just be able to slide straight in there. Now you the legit WBA super title now holder, whatever. And now you're staring at a fight with Errol Spence now. Wow, man. It was going to happen anyway, but if it had to happen sooner, it wouldn't have the credibility that it has now. So that's one good thing. But I do say this though, out of all of that lottery win only got into Errol Spence because the buck stops there. He done when he get in there with Errol Spence. I guess I can't say it so confidently now because of Earl's eye injury. We got to see, really to what extent that is and how he's going to look coming back out there, his confidence and all that, it's got to play a part in there somehow. And he's been through a lot, man. He's overcame a lot. So for him to come out there and be 100% like the Earl we remember, would really be shocking. I don't doubt him, but it'd be very shocking to see that because with injuries like that and you worried about losing your eyesight, you have to figure that's going to be in his mind somewhat. But I do look forward to seeing that fight, man. And it needs to happen because Earl needs the opportunity to get that third belt. And, should already be undisputed, man. Boxing should have supported his effort from the gate, man. He's the one guy. Now, I get upset every time I think about Canelo being able to go for undisputed this year. It should not have happened. I'm going into other things, though. I'm pretty sure we want to talk about that, too. But I kind of got to hit everybody, man. But, But congrats to Ugas, man. He did his thing, man, and he got the win. And it just shows you that I was thinking before that fight, if he got that fight with Earl and Earl got in there with him, he was going to get done to him what he did to Oscar De La Hoya. It really seemed that way. So we'll see how it goes. I know Manny talking about he might want a rematch, for whatever reason, but. Him and all these excuses, man. People got to get kind of tired of hearing that, man. You done everything you can do, man. You had a hell of a career. It's just that time to wind it down and go do some other things, bro.
Right. I was going to ask Brandon what his opinion on the fight was, but he might lost connection or something. But I'm going to tell you guys what I thought about the fight. From the beginning, I really thought that. Oh, there you go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I don't know what happened to me. I it dropped the call. Sorry. Okay, I'm back now. You guys were talking. So where we at now?
Actually, I was about to ask you your thoughts on the Manny Pacquiao Ugas fight.
Well, I'm gonna go with everything Black Star and Bruce have just said. Ugas hit the lottery. Manny Pacquiao looked like a 43-year-old part-time boxer who hasn't fought in 2 years. I think Manny should retire. I don't think he should continue fighting. There's no need to it, and he only would be risking his health to continue. Unless he just wants to keep doing it, or his finances are way worse than what we think they are. I would like to see Ugas, because Ugas is 35. I would like to see Ugas get a couple of big name fights, because at his age, he's not going up. He's going to be going down as time goes on. So I hope to see him in a unification bout with somebody next year. He probably won't fight the rest of this year. And I'm following up with what Bruce said. I really hope the welterweight division give these young guys their chance to fight some of these top contenders who are there now, make some good fights because the talent is there, and give the fans a reason to be boxing fans again. That's what I hope they do. I hope they don't fumble this opportunity with politics to help increase the brand of boxing.
Oh yeah, I tell you another thing. Beware of Boots now. Beware of Boots Ennis, man. With this this retina injury to Earl Spence, how is that going to play a part in the future? And now by it's taking longer for him to be able to go up for undisputed, is Boots going to be able to catch him before he leaves 47? A lot of
I don't think Earl's going to fight. I think Earl's going to retire, because Earl has had some. I mean, I have it on good authority that when he had his car accident, it was a bad accident. He had to get some teeth implanted. He had, people saying that he had PTSD. He didn't want to drive around in his car for a month because of what happened. And now with the eye injury, I don't know if he's going to really ever be the same Errol Spence he was, 3-4 prior accident Errol Spence. He probably will not be that same fighter again. And in regards to Boots, nobody wants Boots. Boots is not an easy guy you fight. Boots is a guy that you fight when you have no other choice, because that man's a beast. Like, I would not be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if he gets no title shot against any of these guys right now and has to get a vacant title in a year or so, or he moves up, because nobody wants Boots. Like, Boots is not somebody, like I say, Boots and Virgil Ortiz are two guys that you just got to be like, look, if I can avoid them, you avoid them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how definitely Sean Porter totally agrees. He said long ago he don't want that smoke. That's for them young cats. So that's saying an awful lot, man. But I tell you though, it does look interesting though, man, because he's coming, man. He's on the move, and eventually he's gonna get to that number one spot. And once he get there, it's gonna be harder and harder to avoid him, man. So whatever these guys are gonna do at 47, they need to hurry up and get it out the way. Bud Crawford over there, he chirping like, sounding like he, all of a sudden he woke up because of Earl's injury. He had, trying to clown Earl for having an injury, but Earl actually out here trying to fight somebody, and you ain't did nothing all year, but now all of a sudden, your mouth, you ain't got no problem flopping that. You didn't get to fight, man. That's why I don't really deal with this dude, man, because he pissed me off with that. But so many people think this dude is a real one, and it boggles my mind, man, because he don't move nothing like it. And now he wants to talk that because now he probably feels a little more confident, because he feel, well, he got the retina injury, he had that injury, all these things happening to him. I'm just sitting back, I'm whole, I ain't really fought nobody, I ain't taking no damage. Shoot, I got an advantage. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see how that goes, man. But I just want to see some of these guys put up or shut up, because they've been talking for way too long. It's like him, Teofimo Lopez, the little Girl Scout, with Ryan Garcia, all these ones like that, they got to take their skirts off with pants on and come to the dance. That's what they're going to have to do, because I'm tired of hearing all this yip about what they're going to do and what they is and how they much better than everybody else, and how everybody else got to jump through hula hoops just to get a fight with them. I'm sick of all that. Somebody just need to come and bust down the door, walk up on them and slap the key haul shit out of them and get the fight on.
Okay. Well, I think the key thing is this. Like you said, put up or shut up. I think if people would say, the one thing I'll give Teofimo is, okay, you beat Lomo and you hadn't done nothing since Lomo. I'll give you beat Lomo. But there's a lot. There's not a reason for a lot of these fights not to happen. Not a good reason. So
Right.
if you're gonna chirp online and say, "Hey man, I want this guy," then you can't be upset when fans say, "Why are you not fighting him then?" Because you keep like Ryan Garcia says he wants all these guys. Okay, who are you fighting, Ryan? If you're not fighting one of these guys, we have questions about that because this is what you're telling us. And I think that's one of the problems with boxing now is, you know, 20 years ago or before social media, you talked noise at the press conference, at the weigh-in because the fight was happening. Now you're talking noise and you're not even trying to actually make the effort to fight that guy. And I hope some point the fans realize that look, they've always are talking this noise, but they're not doing anything about it. So let's tune them out until they give us a reason to pay attention. Because I do agree that it's too much talking, not enough effort.
True that. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Hey, let me give a shout out to my brother Mad Chad out there. He stopped in the room. He's my bro from Mad Chad Boxing and Sports, man. Excellent program, man. He come over here. You know, Mad Chad just did a program, man. He just got this thing. It's called cannabinoid hypermenesis syndrome. And if anybody's never can't even think what that means old potheads like us, he can't smoke weed anymore. It makes him freaking deathly sick after 40 years of toking weed. I mean, he just did a download on it, man. He just dropped a link. You know, he just did it. And dude, you know, you love your weed. You don't abuse any other drugs, man. You don't abuse pharmaceuticals. Alcohol. And then fucking weed makes you deathly sick. You can't believe how sick it's making you. You go to the hospital and they tell you about this new cannabinoid hypermenesis disease that people are coming out with now. And man, talk about fucking up your life, man. I got to shout out my brother Mad Chad because me and Mad Chad, we talk about weed. You know, we do boxing shows, we do music shows, man. He's my brother, man, dude. I'll go on the line. Give that Mad Chad a wrench, bro, because he's my brother in boxing and in life over here, man. And he has to suffer with this, man. So can you imagine? Can you imagine if your doctor told you no more weed? It's making you
that's tragic, bro. That's tragic, man. Shout out to my brother Mad Chad Boxing and Sports, man.
Mad Chad Boxing and Sports.
Hey, and go sub to him too, man. That's why give him a link so he can drop his link in here, man. Give him a wrench if you can, my brother Basement, so he can drop his link in here.
Yeah, I'm already subbed to brother Mad Chad for sure.
Yeah, man. Black Star knows the brother. He's been on there with us many a time, man.
Yeah, man. He I tell you what though, Mad Chad, don't worry. Me and Bruce gonna handle all the weed for you, bro. Don't even worry about it.
Dude, today is Sunday. I worked my ass off yesterday in the yard, man. I was pushing an 80-pound lawnmower with no propulsion up the hill, man. I got a back workout, a bicep workout, an ass workout, a calf workout. I'm sore as hell today, man. I am sitting down. I'm enjoying 4 different strains on my Toka 2, man. Getting ready for the fights tonight. My wife's making me some fine food. I really have no cares in the world today. My brother Black Star's online. He sends me a link to jump in over here. I love it, man. You know. So, dude, life is good, brother. Life is good, man. You know, thank God for life. Thank God I have my health.
Yes, indeed. Most definitely, man. Appreciate that to the fullness, man. And Mad Chad, man, that's the first time I've ever heard of that diagnosis, man. So that really has me bummed out on that, bro. I real feel bad on you that one, man. But hang in there, my brother. You know.
Dude, that's like telling Cheech and Chong they can't smoke weed anymore, you know?
That's tragic. That's tragic, man. That's tragic. No opiate smoke. Oh, Lord.
Salute to my good brother God Body Sports and News. He in the building.
Yes.
Salute, good brother.
Salute to the young G.
How come he got deleted? You must have made a mistake. Deleted his message.
Yeah, I did. I was actually I was making sure he was a moderator too. I see why he ain't had no wrench.
It's tough directing a program, Basement, man. You get a lot of people in friendly fire. Wait till you start getting 200 people watching your show at the same time. You got to watch them all, man. It'll happen, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Yeah, man. But hey, you guys was talking about the Rigondeaux fight, man. I saw a little bit of that, man. I want to get you guys' opinion of that, man. What y'all think about Rigondeaux, man? Because I was kind of torn. I have to admit, because I had an expectation of him doing certain things, and then I didn't expect to see what I saw from him. So
Me either.
yeah, man, that really bummed me out because I felt like he kind of cheated himself because he could have been more effective, you know.
Yep. Yeah, and the sad thing about that is because salute to La Madrina. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, La Madrina.
Salute.
The sad thing about it is Rashid Warren could have had that fight with Rigondeaux, and he just had a tremendous performance right before the Rigondeaux fight. Oh man, he fought on that undercard, but if he would have fought Rigondeaux, and the way Rigondeaux performed that night, man, that would have been that'd have been 2 thumbs up for Rashid Warren, man.
Yeah.
Rashid Warren and his victory too that night.
Yeah, that would have propelled him majorly, you know. But Rigondeaux really just, I don't want to say gave up. I mean, he had the ring generalship, but he leaned on it too heavily, man. I mean, he should have stood in there and banged with him a little bit more. Now I know, you know, old dude, he can punch now. Don't get me wrong. So I know you don't want to take too many of them, but man, I mean, he had the tools to offset some of those things. And a lot of times when he did sit down and flat his feet, you know, he won. He didn't look bad in the exchange. You know, he took a little fire. You know, it just seemed to me like he didn't want to take, you know, any fire.
Exactly. It was. I mean, you know, it's a funny thing because you know the Cuban boxers, they box different.
What's up, bro?
And they box a lot on the run or whatever with some and
All right, listen, man.
it's just like Rigondeaux. He didn't want no smoke that night, man. He didn't want no smoke. He didn't want no smoke. And damn, how you pronounce the guy he fought?
I can't
even pronounce it. Whatever. He had a chance.
One of Manny Pacquiao's guys.
Yeah. He man, listen. He was hitting Rigondeaux with some shit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be time for Rigondeaux to hang it up. You guys who was talking earlier, you guys said you think that Manny Pacquiao should hang it up. But what do you guys think about Manny Pacquiao coming back for a rematch?
Well, here's what I'll say first. Rigondeaux is one of those guys that even when he loses, the winner doesn't look great. Like, you know, he's lost 2 fights, and in both fights, it wasn't like he was just getting beat from one side of the ring to the other side of the ring. It was more a fight that he gave away. Not that, okay, this guy's a superior boxer. It's really like, look, if I lose, you don't look good winning. And that's just his style. It's not a very television or fan afraid. It's really a boxing purist type of style when it comes to him. So it's really hard to have an opinion. With him, it's so hard to have an opinion because you can be torn in your view. As far as it goes to a rematch, I don't want to see a rematch with Manny and Ugas. I personally don't want to see Manny in the ring anymore because it's obvious that Manny is losing a step. It's obvious that he's at a point where I don't know. You guys are probably all around my age or older. You guys remember when Holyfield lost to Riddick Bowe, and Holyfield started to have fights where he would beat Mike Tyson, but then he would struggle with Von Bean, and then he would look good against Lennox Lewis in one fight, and then look horrible in the other fight. And he kind of started to go up and down with what you were seeing. And you would say, well, you know, he's not doing too bad. And I think with Manny beat Keith Thurman, which was a big thing, but it wasn't like he dominated Keith Thurman. You could see then Manny was losing a step. You could see Manny was losing a step against Jeff Horn. And now with Ugas, you clearly see Manny is really on the decline. So him fighting Ugas again is kind of to me, it's a waste of time because it's like one of those things where we don't have a question on if you lost that first fight. We clearly believe, no one disagrees that you lost that fight. So a rematch would be kind of pointless in my opinion because nobody wants it and you shouldn't take it.
Exactly, man. So I think it's no more than a money grab for if they do it again. Because like you said, man, I mean that's and then you got so many of these pack cars out here making so much noise, talking so much trash that the interest is eventually I believe is going to be there. So I'm it's like a danger right now of him coming in to get this rematch and prolonging Earl Spence. And then it's like we don't know if Earl will be able to come in. If not, then if that doesn't happen, they'll probably will have a rematch because the money value. I mean, Ugas is to double dip on that, man, will be the highlight of his whole career. And if he got 2 wins against Manny, I do agree with you when he talked about the fight against Keith Thurman. I think he just caught Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman came off a 2-year layoff, injuries. He wasn't really 100%. He didn't look good in the previous fight. He gets thrown out there. He come in a little rusty. He gets caught. He gets dropped. He gets back up. But as the fight progressed, he started to really get into Manny Pacquiao, and a lot of people, lose sight of that part right there, because it was evident then, and you were actually right about his regression, but it was hidden because he got that victory. Once he got that victory, everybody just was like, wow, he did all this and he did that. But that's a broke down Keith Thurman who really wasn't 100% either. So now you get in there with Ugas, a guy who ain't had no injuries. Aside from that bicep that I was hearing about, but I didn't get a chance to really see how bad it was. But it couldn't have been too bad because he lasted the whole fight. But he was able to expose it. But I believe if he'd have got in there with Earl, the way that Earl had been training for that fight, Earl would have murdered. Oh my God, Earl would have beat him something. That's why I compare it to Manny when Manny fought Oscar De La Hoya. How Oscar looked in the corner, Oscar was defeated. He was defeated. He had the same thing, but I think he would have been unconscious because Earl would have just broke him down, man. And maybe not unconscious, but he would have had to take a knee like Kell Brook did because he'd have beat the body down. Because you can see what Ugas did to him, and Ugas ain't even a power puncher. So we'll see what happens. Man.
I agree, and that's the thing I think with it is right now we give Manny credit for being a 43-year-old politician who looked like he still is competitive. But if we say, let's look at Manny who fought Ugas versus Manny who fought, he's 43, let's say 35, 8 years ago, it's a huge difference. And, anybody who gets older, and you guys all know this, you don't necessarily get better physically the older you get, especially in boxing, because you're taking punches, you're taking hits, you're training. Your body doesn't react the same. And I think what like you said, a lot of these fanboys of Manny Pacquiao need to realize is that everything has an end, and this may be Manny Pacquiao's end, and it's okay. It's perfectly fine if he retires now at this point. He has nothing else to prove. Let it be.
I agree with you. I agree. Okay, Dennis, can it be that we write Manny Pacquiao off too quick, though? Could it be that Manny Pacquiao overtrained for this fight?
No, I don't see how. Manny Pacquiao is a 20-plus year veteran in professional boxing. He had Freddie Roach. If he overtrained, that is a fault. That's an excuse he can't use because he's not a rookie at this game. At this point, you know your body, you know what you can do and what you shouldn't do, so don't use that excuse. If you overtrained, okay, that's your fault. You can't have an excuse every time you lose. You gotta accept the fact that the better man won that night. Like when he said he hurt his shoulder in the Mayweather fight, okay, you still came in and boxed. So you can't now say, well, the reason I lost is this.
I'm back again, bro, and I'm listening to you, and I couldn't agree more. It seems like Manny has an excuse for every time he loses, and he lost. anything that he's going to say, Ugas can say the same thing, man. Manny's seen this every style that can be thrown at him. He can't say he wasn't ready for Ugas. You know, Ugas is the one who wasn't ready for all the different styles Manny had. And, you know, Manny's older now, man. We're in a young man's game, split second timing. You know, if you're off by a quarter of that split second, that's life or death. You know, Manny's fortunate. He's got his marbles now. He's got a career in politics. He's got a beautiful wife that's probably his best advocate that's telling him, hang it up, Manny. And yet people want to see a rematch of this fight. Nah, not me, man. You know, and to think of him getting in there with Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford, the way he looked on Saturday night, oh man, I don't want to see Manny go out like that, man. Go out now. That's the anything any sensible boxing fan can say.
Okay, I just want you guys' opinion. I just want to see are we writing dead already, and he's not dead?
No, he's not dead. 42 years old, though.
I'm just saying as far as boxing career, because it was interesting to me if you guys paid attention to the fight. The first 2-3 rounds, when the round was over and Manny went to the corner, Manny didn't automatically take a seat. Like he was the first round, I thought he was gonna stand up. I'm telling my wife, like, damn, Manny Pacquiao ain't about to take a seat. I ain't never seen him do this. And then Freddie Roach finally got him to sit down. I'm like, damn, okay. Second round come. It was the same thing. Like Manny Pacquiao, he acted like he didn't want to take a seat. He wanted to stand up. So then by the third round, a friend of mine called me. He said, man, how you got the fight? I'm like, well, I got it. It's the third round. So I got a 1-1 so far. Like, it's beginning of the third round. In the third round, it was the same thing. Like Manny Pacquiao did not want to take a seat. And then after the fight, he come to say he was cramping his legs, about his legs. And I'm just wondering, like, I'm not giving him no escape, no, nothing like that. I'm not giving no, I'm just saying, like, could it just been that Manny Pacquiao maybe overtrained or maybe his legs are just tired or whatever excuse is. And we just be writing him off now, and actually he can come back and perform maybe to not the old Manny Pacquiao, but still a high caliber of boxer in welterweight division.
I say no. I mean, Manny Pacquiao could be the low-level hanging fruit in the welterweight division who really are not. You know, he could beat anybody but the ones who matter, I think. But I also think that we got to look at it and realize that, look, Manny, you are going to get older every fight, every time you train. You're not going to get younger. You're not going to hit some new prime. You're 43 years old. 43. You got to realize your prime is gone. You're past your prime by 10 years at least. And this was a fight that you lost. But unlike some of the past greats, he went out standing. You know, when Muhammad Ali and I think Bruce talked about Oscar De La Hoya, you had some guys that they got a literal ass whooping their last fight. It was like, look, this is something we're not begging you to stop. That didn't happen to Manny. And every time he fights, he is going to risk that being an opportunity for him to be severely hurt and severely embarrassed because either his corner, his wife, or his fans didn't say, look, enough's enough. As long as you're functioning right now, call it a day, ride out the sunset, enjoy your life, because it'll be that one punch that's going to have you slurred speech, going to have you with memory loss, and going to have you with a high doctor bill and not be able to enjoy the quality of life that you just spent 20 years trying to build. And it's not worth it.
Absolutely, Joe. You know, you sound like you go back a little bit in boxing, man. You know, I go back a little bit, man. And I saw Ali, you know, when he retired and at the beginning of Parkinson's when he fought Larry Holmes. And, you know, I don't care what you say, but that fight accelerated the Parkinson's because after that fight, Muhammad Ali's voice, you had to really slow down and listen to it to understand him. But, you know, that one more fight could be one too many. And, you know what, I've seen it several times myself, man. I go back like you, bro, man. These fighters, they don't want to get out of the spotlight. You know, they they don't feel right when microphones aren't stuck in their face everywhere they go and people aren't asking them about their next opponent, man. You know, it's that, you know, you're a star, you're in the spotlight syndrome, and you just don't like it. Look at Floyd Mayweather, man. How old is he? Yet he still wants to get in the ring and do these exhibitions, man. And that's what I'd like to see, man. If Manny has to do it, you know, go after Conor McGregor. They don't like each other anyway, and do something like that. But don't get in a real fight with one of these young lions, man. You've proven enough. Kick your Hall of Fame material. Get your speech ready. You know, shine those belts up, man. Just don't get in the ring with these young lions, because you're lucky you get out of there with your marbles fighting Ugas. You know, who knows what could happen with some of these other kids who can really hurt you.
Exactly, man. And you know, and it's nice now that they have this lane for exhibition fights and stuff now, you know, where they can pick up fights like that that's really not serious fights, but they can make a ton of money. They still can come out and get their name called and have the fans go, you know, all up in the roar. Because I know myself, man, when I started playing football, that's what I miss. I miss, you know, when it's time to run out on the field and you crowd go, you know, you miss that, man. It's like you want to get out there with the fellas and, yeah, man, we're going to go out here. Boy, I'm telling you, he's going to tear it up. You know, that adrenaline rush right there, man, is just like, that's motivation throughout your career. Then when it's over, man, that's like the first thing you miss, you know, out of anything. So I can definitely sympathize with that, man. But there's a lot of fights that they can have that's, you know, I mean, look at Floyd. Floyd, basically, him and Mike Tyson has created this lane. You know, these guys can pick these soft touches, go out there, give everybody a show, because people still want to see him, you know, but not you know, look like something, you know. The only thing about the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones fight was the fact that Roy Jones really got overshadowed a little bit. The balance was a little off. But to see the two guys back out there was a treat for everybody. So everybody was like, man, put the money down, you know. Man, we got the coach up in here, man. What's going on, coach?
Hey, how's it going? I'm sorry I'm late. I'm in the gym. I was doing some work in the gym, and the time just went so fast.
Salute, Coach Sims.
Indeed. Good to see you, Coach.
Nice seeing you guys. Yeah, like I said, I apologize, and then also I apologize because I'm on my phone and I can't see. I'm blind, and even with these glasses, I cannot see the screen. It's too small for me. I'm getting old, man.
Hey, man, time for
Salute, brother. My name is Bruce Goes, and we can hear you just fine, Coach.
Yeah, we hear you fine, good brother. Yes, indeed, man. Hey, man, you have been having some success on that side of the world too, man. I've been seeing you on Facebook and such, man.
I'm back in the United States. I just got back last week. I'm looking for a job.
No.
You got something for me, Brandon?
Yeah, man. Shoot. Yeah, I'm back in Houston now.
Hey, Coach Ronald. Yeah, I do have some work for you.
Yeah. Oh. In Houston.
Oh, sounds good. I'm in Houston right now.
No.
Oh, for real, Coach? Okay, you're in Houston. We gotta catch up then.
Man, we all three of us got to link up then, bro.
I'm at Mo Better Boxing right now. Mo Better Boxing on Beach Nut.
Oh my God, you're right down the street from me then.
Wow.
We need to meet up, man.
Okay.
We need to meet up.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, we need to meet
How
up.
long you in town for, Coach?
I'm gonna be here for at least the 16. Like I said, I'm looking for employment. When I say a job, I mean boxing job. I'm not trying to do anything else but boxing. So I'm gonna go to California. I got a friend out in Hayward, California, that asked me to help him out, and so I'm gonna go check him out. And then I got another friend in San Diego asked me to come help him build a dynasty down there. I want to check that out, but my heart is in Texas because I think the living, you get more for your buck here in Texas. You know, as far as
Coach.
We can't have you leaving.
It's much easier.
We gotta make you stay here. So we gotta get out here, put the feel and put the word out. We got the coach in town. We got a big time free agent out here. People got to jump on him, man. Hit him with that signing bonus. Keep him right here in the state of Texas, right here in H-Town, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I put my vote in on that.
Yeah, Coach. Oh, yeah, definitely. If you're in Houston, Main Street Gym, I got a couple of guys, but I'm trying to say where you can definitely get the business. Because Main Street Gym is where Regis and a lot of amateurs are at right now. I mean, you trust me,
Well,
you won't be unemployed long here.
yesterday, actually, I got here yesterday. It was yesterday or the day before, the 20. I came to 27th, sorry. But yesterday, I went around. They had a match, a boxing event, and I stopped in. And then they had this flyer, I guess, on the 11th of September. They got a Willie Savannah. They're gonna do the first annual Willie Savannah tournament. And I saw the flyer, and I'm looking at the flyer for a little bit. And then the guy I'm with, he's like, "Yo, man, you notice that? You notice this?" And I was like, "What?" He said, "Man, your picture is on there." I was like, "Man, that is me." Got me on the flyer.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Coach.
We gotta
You
link
should
up this
definitely
week,
talk to
fellas.
Coach Forrest. Yeah. Because I know Coach Forrest, I know, dude, there's some people, Carlos Marino, there's gyms and people who can use you as a trainer, Coach. Yes.
There it is. There it is.
So what were you guys talking about?
Do you think Manny Pacquiao is too old, Coach?
I'm the type of person whereas when even though sometimes we think that it's best for some people to to give the sport up, I just been one of those people that feels like you should never tell a man what to do. A man can do what he want to do. So I would never tell someone that they're too old or they need to retire. I mean, I've done it one time with a young kid because he just couldn't get it, and I think he hated me after that. he just despised me after that, and so he went to another sport. But I just because when I was boxing, I didn't want anybody to tell me hey, you should do this, you should do that. No, this is my life, and I can do whatever I want to do.
Exactly.
I understand that, but isn't sometimes enough is enough?
Yes, I understand that. But who are you to tell somebody is enough for their life? Who are you to tell somebody what to do with their life?
See, I think the only thing that was missing was the Earl Spence fight.
This is a discussion they should probably have with their family members, their wife, and stuff like that. But for us, we have no say what someone does with their life. Let people live their life. Let their family members and their close ones discuss that with them. That's not none of your business. How would you like somebody in your business telling you what to do?
Yeah, true that.
True that.
I think he got lucky though, because if he had gotten there with Earl, he would have been looking like Oscar De La Hoya when Oscar realized then, well, you know what? I think I want to be a promoter. It's time to move on. Sometimes, we hard-headed, man. We don't want to give it up. Like I say, we love that walking out there in the crowd and the whole fact of competing and everything. I mean, you're doing it your whole life, so it's hard to let that go. And it never really leaves you in life, man. So, it's a strong desire. So sometimes people you gotta go out there and take them lumps and realize, hey, man, I just can't compete like this no more. Unfortunately, sometimes that's the way it has to end. And then, like you say, it's the most sensible way where he sat down with his family and realized, hey, I done everything I needed to do, and everything. I'm solidified in history, and I'm a guaranteed Hall of Famer, and my name is gonna be out here forever. So, hey, man, I'm gonna go ahead and kick back and let these young bucks have it. Be an ambassador. Maybe do some exhibitions. I mean, Florida's showing people how to extend their careers and still make money. And not have to take all the risk, involved with that there. And if he can get in a situation like that, then hey, man, by all means, get back out there, because who don't want to see Manny, get back in the ring, but I don't want to see him going there and get hurt and beat all and everything like that, those are usually the two ways it goes out for athletes.
Yeah, I tell you, boxing is very, very addictive. And I'm tell you something that's a little bit more addictive than boxing, and that's fame. You know, when wherever you go, people are like, oh, and you know, that's who you become. And a problem with boxing is that mentally mentally you get better as far as the skills, you know the craft, but physically you start going down. You know more because of your experience, but your body start going downwards while your mind is, your mind is sharp, but your mind and your body, they start separating from each other as it goes. While you can see things and you recognize things, your body would not react as quickly as it would when you were younger. So that becomes a big problem because we become better mentally because we can see things and we can recognize things and we know things, but then our body is not up to the level or speed of our minds. And even if people speak slowly and other, their mind is still fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of difficult to explain, but you know, in boxing, when you're on a certain level, guess what? Uh, you wouldn't believe how fast thoughts go. You can't believe that. I've had fights whereas it lasted like one round in 1 minute and it's over. And I'm like, man, how did I think all those thoughts that I had in 1 minute? And I gave him 3 8 counts. All the things that I thought in that, how did it go through my mind that fast? It's amazing. So our minds are always getting better, but our bodies and our physical it deteriorates. That's the best I can explain that. So
I
it's
can't
very
I
Can,
can
addictive.
agree
can,
more.
I, can I ask you one question though, bro? How about the punches to the head? Don't they? Isn't there an accumulation after a while? Like, isn't it time to not take those shots anymore? Like Manny deserves to go to in politics without having to go into the gym and get rattled around every day. I agree with you 100%. It's none of our business to tell somebody when to sit down and to retire from their sport. But as a humanitarian, I just cannot stand to see these boxers who cannot defend themselves at the latter stages in their career get hit like they do, because I know the accumulation and we see the effects of CTE on so many boxers now that we know what this is. It's from getting too much trauma on the brain, and it's a young man's sport, man. I'm an old man. And I admire these kids who box today, but I could never see somebody half my age getting in the ring and competing with them. You know what I'm saying, brother?
I agree with you 100% when it comes to that. As a matter of fact, our heads are not made to be punched on. Neither is our body. Okay, but it is a sport, and this sport sometimes it makes somebody that feels like they were nobody become somebody that everybody loves. And I will tell you, this is one thing I say. I love boxing, but boxing don't love me. Boxing loves nobody. Okay, this is all I want to do. I want to die being in boxing, but boxing don't care nothing about me. I'm telling you,
Fact.
that's just the way that it is.
I agree, Coach. I mean, what Coach just said is 100% accurate. I think, and I'm not a trainer. Coach is a trainer. I'm not a trainer. So, I mean, what he says is probably the best answer, the most truthful answer you're going to get. Because I do remember some years ago, Shane Mosley was fighting. I can't remember the person he was fighting, but he had made a comment about how he could see the punches coming, but he couldn't pull the trigger with his body to move fast enough because his body just didn't have he wasn't as fast as he was. So even though he saw a jab coming, he couldn't move out the way of it, and he ended up catching a jab. And in my opinion, and me and Coach have talked about this before, I always feel like when it comes to a point where you become a punching bag and it's obvious that you don't have it, I have no problem with you walking away. but I do agree with Coach says about it's their decision to do so. I also think that we should have better medical attention when it comes to fighters and their health, because if you guys remember with the whole thing with Spence, in Texas they don't require you to have your eye exam, which is basically an eye exam by an optometrist, whereas Spence eye exam for Nevada was an optometrist, so it was a little bit different, and they were able to catch his ophthalmologist. Thank you, I can never pronounce that.
Yeah,
so they were able to catch that.
I know exactly where you're going, brother.
Yeah. So my concern is if Manny Pacquiao had some injury or something that could have been, a big threat to him, depending on where he's fighting, it might not get caught. Because if Spence would have fought in Texas, Spence probably would have caught that eye tear, and Lord knows what would have happened. So my only thing is I do want to see better medical education for the ringside doctors and better physicals for the fighters, because I know there's some places where you can go and basically if you can stand, they will give you a license and it's apparent that, look, you shouldn't be in the ring anymore. So that's kind of my 2 cents when it comes to comes down to the response to Coach.
Hey, Brandon, can I say something?
Sure.
About that? And what I want to say is I remember 2 good boxers. They became so damaged that they were not allowed to box anymore. The commissions were not. They put a ban for them to box. One is right here from Texas. That was Terry Norris, and the other one, an Olympian. The one, what's the one that fought Chavez and they beat him?
Meldrick Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay, those are 2 people that I know for a fact. They put a ban. They would not let them step in the ring anywhere.
Wow, man. Yeah, because I remember hearing Meldrick was fighting to an older, a little bit older than average age, in these little small events. So they finally stopped him. I'm glad to hear that, man, because I seen him the last time, man. He was clearing his words.
It's funny you mention those names because that's who they threw Meldrick Taylor in the ring with Terry Norris after he took that terrible beating from Chavez. It's just so ironic how those names will be lumped together in history like that.
And then took the victory away from the man. At least could have gave the man his due.
The Chavez fight. That could be argued forever. Was that fight stopped prematurely or wasn't it? But let's face it, Meldrick Taylor was never the same after that fight. Never.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. But he did the one fight that he earned, that his signature win that should have immortalized that man, was taken away from him though. That's the thing that makes it so much harder and more sad.
I watched the fight that night and looking into Meldrick Taylor's face like Larry Hazard must have been doing. I couldn't put that blame on anybody, man. And then Lou Duva yelling in your ear 20 feet away. You don't know if he's charging ringside. I mean, and then you got Don King, stop the fight, dude. I don't know what I.
It wasn't Larry Hazard. It wasn't Larry Hazard. It was what's his name from Vegas?
Oh man, I can see his face and everything, man.
He's the Don King. He was under Don King.
He was trying to protect that Julio Cesar Chavez investment.
I don't know why. I don't know why his name is at the tip of my tongue too, and I just spat Larry Hazard out. Regardless thereof, though, man, can you imagine the weight on his shoulders at that second? Because Meldrick Taylor, he did not look with it. I mean, Meldrick Taylor was beat up, winning the fight on points maybe by a fraction, but Chavez had beaten him body and face, and like I said, he was never the same after that fight. And man, I'm so glad I was old enough to witness that fight, because that really charged me in boxing. I think, what was that, back in 1990? That was like just before George Foreman knocked out Michael Mora. What a time to be a fight fan that was.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh man. And the thing about it was, man, he got suckered into that machismo thing. That Philly style fighter, and you down there fighting the Mexican style, and I'm tougher than you. And if he stayed with his quickness, because he had the quickest hands in boxing, man, it was a cakewalk. He was just picking him apart, but he got suckered in there and wanted to go in there and bang with him. Oh man,
it was Richard Steele. Richard Steele.
Yep. Richard Steele. Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. I mean, just imagine you had Melody Taylor, Pernell Whitaker, Evander Holyfield, all in the same gym, sparring each other at the same man. That was man. And they had my favorite trainer at the time. Oh my God, man. Oh shoot, the dark skinned brother, man, was with Lou Duva. Oh my God, I can't believe this. My favorite trainer of all time, too, man. They talk about the Philly Shell. They tie him to the
Eddie
Philly
Futch.
No, not Philly.
He out of Virginia. I can't think his name. I know
Who used to make the catfish at Lou Duva's restaurant?
Yeah.
Georgie Benton.
Georgie Benton. There we go.
Benton, yeah.
Man, I can't believe I couldn't remember that, man.
Dude, I understand, man. It gets me so frustrated. They're right on the tip of my tongue, but hey, that's the way God made us, you know.
Man, I never forget Georgie.
Like the
Benton
brother was
on the road,
saying, you know, the mind's just a fraction of a second slower than the body wants to be, and hey, that's why we don't belong in the ring with these killers at this stage.
There you go, exactly.
Well, yeah, and that's my thing. I think there's a certain point where you're going to get older naturally, and you're in a combat physical sport, and I think that's when it's like, okay, we should really go heavy when it comes to your training, and not your training when it comes to your examinations and evaluations. Because I've seen some guys this year get licensed in states where any place else would have told them no. Like, do you guys know Danny Williams is still fighting? You know Danny Williams, the guy who fought Mike Tyson and Vitaly Klitschko 15 years ago. He can't get licensed here or in England, so he's fighting in Eastern Europe.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he looks. If you ever see a video of him recently, it's obvious that he shouldn't be in the ring, but he's able to get licensed there.
Yeah, in the Eastern Europe, man, them guys be having like 200 fights, and I mean, look at some of the guys that Kell Brook fought, man, and some of them crazy, ridiculous records that they had with all them losses, 98 losses and stuff. Man, that stuff is, how can you sanction a guy that probably on a 40 loss fight streak? He should automatically be disqualified. You're not even being competitive.
Yeah, the thing about it is this: they can take it to court and they can say, "Hey, you can't stop a man from working." That's how he makes his living. How you going to tell a man he can't work?
Man.
Yeah, I mean, look what Larry Holmes did after his career after he was basically through. We didn't know about it. I mean, he went on a spree and fought Butterbean, had a rematch with Mike Weaver 20 years after the fact. I mean, it was, you can't tell a boxer when to hang him up, and Larry Holmes wanted to hang him up after they dragged him off the couch to fight Tyson. Don King did that back in was it 86 maybe?
Yeah, man.
And then he fought well after that, making the money, because you can't tell a boxer when to retire, especially when they can draw a crowd, when they can put money in their pocket, and that's what Larry loved to do. That would, especially when you're famous like that and you can command that kind of dollar. How are you going to tell a fighter no? You're not gonna make money anymore. Forget it.
Yeah.
It's just
that money is something else, man. And then you got to shake your head off to
the fame is even more. The fame is even more. I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, because missing the crowd, hollering your name, and
sticking a microphone in your face everywhere you go, everywhere you say. That's as addictive as a shot of heroin every day.
Oh man, I get that all the time in H-Town.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you. Hey, this is why you hear in all the sports, you see all the old timers. They always criticize these young boys because they be jealous a little bit because the microphone used to be in their face, and they don't miss that, and they see it in somebody else's face, and they criticize them, and they hating for real.
Exactly.
Well, you can see Floyd doesn't want to get out of the spotlight at all.
No.
Tank Davis, he looks at Floyd before he says a word, and Floyd has to say what Tank's going. Floyd knows what's going on. He was a fighter, and he loves being in charge, being a promoter, and he loves the spotlight. Like you said, how can you get out of that spotlight when you lived that spotlight for 25 years? You're not going to put that drug down.
But I think that's the problem. I think one problem, though, is if we really look at it, Floyd is still the biggest American boxer out there as far as it goes to popularity and fame. He's retired 7 years ago, but he's still the biggest recent name in American boxing. Because since he's retired, there hasn't been another American to take his place as far as it goes to the impact and popularity.
Yeah, but not to a hardcore boxing fan. You know, that's all being sold to YouTubers and the mixed crossover fights. You know, the boxing purist. Me personally, I know Floyd's retired. He's not going to come back, and if he does, it'll be something with Oscar De La Hoya as a sideshow for a Sunday night. I mean, that's not real boxing. I can't see how we can expect Floyd to still be the so-called face of boxing anymore. You know, the thing is, boxing's in such a sorry way right now that we just don't have the fans out there to know any better.
Well, see, I think a big part of it is that what you're seeing with like the Jake Paul and these YouTube guys, you're seeing guys who are saying, "Look, you're gonna know my name." And I think one of the problems you have with a lot of the most legitimate boxers is that they're really good, but they're not really. They can't do an interview to sell anything. Like Floyd's a great salesman, even when he's having exhibition fights. And we don't really have a professional boxer now that's able to grab the attention and give us the sound bites and to be the face of American boxing anymore. And I think that's what we really need, because it's still Floyd. Because as much as we can say the future is going to be Tank or whoever, they really can't be as charismatic and as attention grabbing as Floyd still can be.
It's too bad that boxing has to come down to that personality detail, because it's a sad state of affairs. There's thousands of up and coming boxers out there that we should be paying more attention to. And Floyd Mayweather, he's not on my radar when I look at the hot fighters out there. He's like I said again, he's retired. He just wants to make some money. He's running a sideshow, but that's not boxing as far as I'm concerned. Hey, salute and rival
Brandon,
boxing, my brother out there.
Hey, Brandon,
That's
what
his
you
story.
just said, guess what? I blame it on Ali. I blame it on Muhammad Ali. But before Ali, you did have Jack Johnson and Sugar Ray Robinson. But I blame it on Ali, because you got to remember how Ali, he gained so much attention, both positive and negative. And then when he left, as great as Larry Holmes was, people said he was boring. They wanted to see something more flamboyant. Matter of fact, if you ever watch that movie Only in America, you should see what Don King had told him. When he couldn't pack a house, he told him to go get a personality.
Yeah, I remember that. And you're right, Coach. The problem is Ali made boxing where really, if you can talk well, if you can make people hate you, love you, be a handsome, charismatic person, people will be there. And every boxer is not going to be that. It's like in basketball. Like people talk about how Kawhi Leonard and Tim Duncan were boring because they didn't have that personality that they thought they were going to get from the Jordan and the Shaquille O'Neals and such. And I think that is part of the problem, is people are now expecting you to be as flamboyant as Ali, and everybody doesn't want to be that. And they shouldn't have to be.
Ali, you know what Ali got his thing from? He got that from Gorgeous George, the wrestler. Keeping the hair combed, the robes. I mean, that was all from Gorgeous George. Ali knew he had to do something different. He looked at that. He looked at how crazy that was, how they were booing this guy and cheering him at the same time. Muhammad Ali said, "That's for me, man." And that was completely turned around the face of boxing. And I watched Ali to the end, man. I watched that sad fight with Larry Holmes, man. And everybody, Ali pulled the banana in the tailpipe with us, man. He didn't show us when he was training, but and he took thyroid drugs to slim himself down. And when he took his robe off at the weigh-in, he looked great. He had slimmed down. I think he was in the 220s, and it was like, I was on the train. I bought it all. Muhammad Ali one more time. And man, it broke my heart when I went to that fight and I saw the pounding that Larry. I think Larry Holmes' heart was broken more than anybody else's. Man, it was a sad night. I don't think you could have heard a pin drop walking out of the closed circuit arena that night. And then Ali did again with Trevor Berbick. Oh man, it was even sadder. And it was the thing about that fight is Larry Holmes was so mad at Trevor Berbick. He gave him a slapping with the open palms for 15 rounds. He said it in his interview. He was just pissed at him for what he did to his friend, Muhammad Ali, man. You know, we're talking about fighters who stayed up too long at the fair. You know, Ali, say what we will, but man, I was on that train, and I'm probably the last fanboy. That was the last time I was ever a fanboy in my life, and that was Muhammad Ali, man. He was my hero when I grew up. I watched the whole ride, man. I watched the anti-Vietnam War and the hard hats bang heads with each other in the first fight with Frazier, man. That was the greatest time to be growing up, man. Ali was a hero, man. Bro, I can't say enough. And when I saw that, it broke my heart. And you know, I went out that night with a bunch of my friends. We dressed up. We went out to a dinner first, and it was Muhammad Ali's coming back. We were so psyched. I think it was 1980, and man, I just hope he didn't break anybody's heart like he broke mine, because I was never a fan of a boxer after that. I love the sport of boxing, but an individual boxer, man, I liked him. You know, I went so far. Hey, I love him too, but dude, it was never the same after Muhammad Ali broke my heart like that, man. Salute. Sorry about that, man. I had to share that one.
No, you're right. And to add something to that, and I don't know if you know this or not, but you do remember Ali didn't pass his physical that first time for the Holmes fight. Ali had to go and he had to go to the Mayo Clinic and have extensive tests ran.
Oh yeah, right.
And remember, his doctor, even his personal physician said, you should not take this fight because of your physical condition, plus the fact that he had to take the thyroid pills, plus the fact that they basically had to beg the commission to give him a license because of all he did for boxing. Like that fight, those last two fights were fights that should have never happened if the commission would have done their job.
You remember that last fight in the Bahamas? I think they had a cowbell for the ringside bell. It was such a half-assed promotion. It was in a tent. It was sad, man. It was a sad way for Ali to go out. But I was right there on the train. I was kind of hoping in my heart one more time, but you know, it wasn't to be. Dude, shout out to Muhammad Ali.
Yes, sir.
You got my good friend Mark Unrivaled in the chat too out there, brother. Shout out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk. Okay, so
shout out to Basement Boxing.
Shout out to Coach Sims. Hey, so did this, Brandon? You probably know a little bit more of this. You and Coach a little bit more about this than I do. We got a big date coming up, September the 2nd. September 2nd is supposed to be the purse bid for Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter. So can you tell the audience exactly what takes place in the purse bid?
Well, with the purse bid, you have to have a promoter that's licensed, that's also authorized by the WBO to bid on it. So it's like you just can't bid on it. You have to be part of their recognized promoters. So I think it's $1,000 to be recognized for that. So what you have to do is when you make your bid, I think it's still 10% of whatever the total bid's going to be. And for example, if the five of us, we're going to bid on the WBO Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter fight, we can say the highest bidder wins. Crawford gets guaranteed 60% of that. Porter gets guaranteed 40% of that. Now, depending on if the promoter is one of the promoters or the fighters who wins it, the percentages can change. And normally the winner you get 6 months to put the show on, get the contract signed, location, all that done. Purse bids are kind of I mean, personally, I hate purse bids because you can get somebody who wins a purse bid, like in the Klitschko Povetkin fight, or this Triller with Teo and Kambosos. You might get somebody who isn't necessarily prepared to do it or knows what they're doing, so it could be a nightmare. But that's really kind of the purse bid process from a high level view.
Okay. I was wondering. So they're supposed to be doing that one live on TV, I believe. So that's going to be very interesting.
I think what'll be interesting is who wins the purse bid, because since I think WBO, you have all the big promoters and a couple of promoters overseas like Frank Warren, and I mean you may even have Golden Boy in there. I don't know. I'm interested to see if, like, say, Golden Boy bids the most and wins it, if they're going to put that show on the zone, and if the fighters will say, look, I'm willing to work with Golden Boy when it comes to this. I don't think they would be interested in working with Golden Boy from Sean Porter, Al Heyman, but I am interested to see what happens with this, to be honest.
That was my question to you. So when they do a purse bid, it's open to all promoters?
Only the ones who are licensed and recognized by the WBO. So what you normally have to do is you have to pay a fee that says that you are a recognized promoter by the WBO, because you got people who got promotional license who don't have the money, who don't have the patience. They really are, they're snakes in the grass. I'll just be honest with you. They're guys that they shouldn't really be in boxing. And there's been more than one time where a promoter has said, oh, I have a promoter license, and they have the highest bid and then default because they don't have the money, because their whole plan was to get the rights to the fight and then try to sell it to a real promoter. So the sanctioning body started to create a process where you have to be a promoter that they know when it comes to the financial and the integrity of it. We know that you have that ability. So it's not open to all promoters, open to all promoters that the WBO recognizes and works with when it comes to a purse bid process. So that's going to be pretty much, I think, all the big ones. Might even be Lou DiBella as well now, but that's what it's going to be down to.
So
all the big promoters will be there.
So that would be very interesting. Like you said, now I'm understanding the purse bid more. That what if somebody like De La Hoya or Eddie Hearn wins the purse bid? And what if Eddie Hearn wins and decides he wants to take the fight overseas? Is that something that's still up to the fighter's choice?
Well, at that point, let's say the fighters say, look, we don't want to travel overseas because of COVID, or there's things that prevent us from traveling overseas, then you might can negotiate a location and a better site for the fight. But if the promoter wants to put the fight and put certain things in place that the fighters don't agree to, like, say, for example, let's say Eddie Hearn wins the fight and he wants to put it on in England, and Sean Porter says, I don't want to fight in England, whatever. He doesn't have to take the fight. He doesn't have to. You can petition the WBO to kind of have to do it with Teofimo, where it says, look, the fight has to be in certain places because we don't want it over there. But at the same time, it's a risky run, because you don't have, when it comes to purse bid, whoever wins gets the rights to it. So you really may not have as much negotiation power as you would like to have if it was a regular fight you're making. That's why purse bids can be a disaster, and sometimes because you don't know who or what, where, or how certain things are going to happen.
So should a boxer feel a certain way if their promoter gets outbidded on the fight, or does the boxers know what promoters bid on the fight? And particularly, like this promoter actually PBC, we bidded 2 million. Eddie Hearns bidded 1.7 million. Do the boxers actually get to know that information?
Yeah, they get to know it after they depict the winner, because the bids are all secretive. So it's not like they're bidding and everyone knows who's bidding what. It's you basically have your bid prepared and it's like an offer sheet. So they'll know you bid 1 million, you bid 2 million, I bid 3 million, I win. You will know after the bidding process who wins. Now, depending on the fighter's contract, some fighters have a contract where their promoter is obligated to bid a certain amount. So, I'm going to use an example, not saying this is the actual number, but let's say Coach Ron is my fighter, I'm his promoter, right? I give him $2 million per fight. He has to fight you, and it's a mandatory purse bid. We may have something in the contract where if Coach Ron has a title fight that goes to purse bid, I automatically have to bid at least $2 million. I got to bid where he would get $2 million. So if it's a 60-40 split, I got to make sure that whatever I bid, it's enough to pay his purse that I owe him. Now, there's been times in cases where, like, what was the last light heavyweight guy who was a champion, IBF guy, fought for Don King in the 2000s, lost to Klitschko. What's his name? From Michigan. Somebody help me.
Oh, man. Hold on.
Chris Bird.
Yep.
Okay. Chris Bird had a case where he didn't have that. So when he fought DeVar Williamson, Don King bid a really low amount. And Don King was supposed to get him, I think, $2.5 million per fight. But since it was a purse bid with the highest bidder, and I think Chris Bird only got a couple of $100,000 or a few $100,000. I don't know. But if you don't have that in your purse bid, then you may be taking a paycheck that's lower than what you were supposed to be making if you didn't go to purse bid. So, for example, on this thing, it's very possible for somebody to win a bid on $2 million, which they're not going to fight for $2 million 60-40 split. That's nothing. But it's a possibility that could be the winning bid. It won't be, but that's kind of the problem with it. When you go to purse bid, is you are basically saying, hey, highest bidder wins, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Wow. That's going to be very interesting. They said that Thriller just sent out the contracts to Teofimo Lopez and Kambosos for the fight. And I believe that they said that they want them both to be vaccinated for this fight. Can I get you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I'll go first on it. When it comes down to it, there's not much you can do about it, because I know in most commissions are requiring you to be vaccinated now to get a boxing license, and I don't know all the rules at IBF, but if they require it in order for this fight to take place, you don't have much of a choice. The only thing you could do is sue and say that, hey, I don't want to get this vaccination. I shouldn't have to get the vaccination, but you probably end up losing legal money and legal fees you could have saved.
Right. Unrivaled Boxing Talk say, yeah, they ordered them both to get vaccinated for the fight. Yep. Well, I guess they can't come up and say no BS behind that fight. I wonder if they're gonna do that to the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury then.
I don't know. They probably wouldn't. I don't know, man. The thing with it is, with the whole COVID thing, it has made everything harder. Um, I don't know the rules of what a fighter can do as far as it goes to the medicals, other than what the commission rules are. So it could be, if I'm not mistaken, and Coach Mike can chime in on this. I know as for amateur fighters, they have to have like the mandatory like measles and polio vaccines, but I don't know if they have to have a COVID vaccine. I know some places it's kind of required to get your license. Some places it is. So it's kind of it's not an area that there's been a lot of progress in regards to boxing.
Right. Okay. Brother Bruce, you still there?
Yeah, bro. I'm still here, bro. I'm taking it all in. I'm listening, enjoying this good boxing talk I'm listening to, bro. I didn't want to chime in because both of you brothers, man, you highly educated on the boxing ladder, man, and I'm enjoying it all, man. Anytime you want me to chime in, bro, I'm here.
What's your opinions on the boxers getting vaccinated?
That the whole COVID thing to me is it's something I've never experienced, in 67 years of life, and I've gotten vaccines when I was a kid. I remember polio was a big thing, and when I was in grade school, I remember a few students had it, and their parents hadn't been vaccinated. I never realized that until later on in life, and I just got vaccines. I mean, you go into and some of the situations I'm in, they stick more needles in your arms and put more things in there. And I've never had any bad reaction. I hope I don't get COVID. I've had two friends of mine who died from it. One who was vaccinated. So, I really don't know what's going on with COVID, man. I just, all I can do is put my faith in God that I don't get it, that none of the boxes come down with it. I hope it gets under control. And as far as the vaccine goes, man, I'm for that. I believe in technology. I wouldn't have believed 5 years ago that I'd be talking to people about boxing on the internet over here. And I've seen so many people who've taken the vaccine and have not had a reaction to it. I just don't see what all the hype is. I mean, if it's for religious reasons, that's one thing. If you have a personal gripe about it and you're going to argue with a scientist about it and they have the facts, I'm not going to go there, man. I'm vaccinated for people around me, so they don't get contaminated by myself.
I'm kind of with you, and the reason I'm kind of with you because it don't make sense to me. And this is why it doesn't make sense to me. Everybody's been getting vaccinated all their lives since they're a little kid. And also you eat stuff that you don't know what's in it. You eat hot dogs, you eat, the stuff we eat, the stuff we consume. We don't know what they're doing. If the government really want to do something to us, guess what? They're gonna put it in our water, and they probably already doing it. So what makes this vaccine so that they got to put it in the vaccine? So it doesn't add up to me. But I've been in the military and I got all types of stuff shot up in me just being in the military. All these years. I don't know what they was putting in me, but I'm still here.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, Coach. Is there's people that they want to find a reason to argue, and this is not me saying you have the right or not the right to get the vaccine, but it's one of those things where if you don't trust science, there's nothing anyone can do to convince you. And in my opinion, if you have a job like a boxer where you're required to have to get a medical exam, not have a communicable disease in order to get your license, then if your job requires it, your job requires it. You can quit your job, but that doesn't mean that they're wrong for requiring it. And see, I know with the whole COVID thing, one of the reasons why they want to say, look, boxers be had the vaccine is because of the fact that if fights fall out because you have COVID, that's lost revenue. It has a huge effect on boxing because could you imagine if Teofimo had COVID, he's in training camp with 30 or 40 boxers, they get it, their wives get it, their kids get it. I mean, you're talking high insurance premiums, medical bills, you're talking something that could have been prevented or the chance of it happening being prevented because in boxing, you're going to have to be within 6 feet and touch somebody and be in their face. So I don't have a problem with boxers having to be vaccinated because your profession and your job is something where you can't wear a mask, you can't social distance. So I think guys need to realize that. And to like Coach Ron's point, you know, if you're the military requires you to have injections and vaccinations over certain things because of the environment and the situations you're going to be in. So I think some people may need to just say, suck it up and take care of your business so that you can have your profession. Simple as that.
Yes, sir.
And then on the other hand, though, too, also, Brandon, I don't think that, you know, I don't think nothing should be mandatory for us because, you know, every year they got the flu shot. You know, in the military, I had to take the flu shot. I had to. I had no choice. You know, they owned me. But now I don't take the flu shot. And luckily for me, I guess my immune system is pretty tough. Because you know, I've since the COVID thing been going on, I've been traveling all over the world. I've been all many places, and I haven't caught it yet. But I did. When I came home last time, I did get the Pfizer, the 2 shots, and when I took the 2 shots, nothing happened. I felt nothing either. And matter of fact, the lady that shot me was so good, I didn't even know until I got home and took a shower that she had put a Band-Aid on my arm.
Yeah, and that's my opinion when it comes to boxers. Because I've had some boxers and some MMA guys who have been like, "Oh, I don't want to get the shot," and it's like, well, look, I don't know what to tell you because if the commission in Texas says, "Hey, you have to get the shot in order to keep your license and get your license," you got to do it. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but you guys remember about 5 years ago, there was a boxer in Arkansas, and Arkansas didn't require blood work, and he fought with HIV. You guys remember that?
Wow.
It might have been. It
You
might have
said
been longer.
5 years ago?
It might have been.
Yeah.
more than
Yeah.
5
Well,
years.
we're going back to the Tommy Morrison days.
No.
You know, that's what.
This was like 5-6 years ago. They had a guy because
Oh,
Arkansas
just
didn't
recently?
require. Yeah, it
Okay.
was. Yeah, Arkansas didn't require blood work. And they require blood work now. And the guy fought with HIV. And you know, for you guys who use Fight Facts or actually have to like you ever work in boxing, whenever someone fails a drug test, physical, you have to put it on Fight Facts, and you have to notify. You basically have to put it on the record that this person failed their physical, so that they can't go to another state and fight. And apparently, this guy had HIV. Was granted a license in Arkansas because they didn't ask for his blood work, fought with HIV or came close to fighting with HIV, and it was a huge thing because the guy had been sparring, obviously, training, and one of the things that you're not supposed to have in combat sports is communicable diseases like that or viruses and have a license.
Yeah, there's a tremendous scandal in professional wrestling with hepatitis C. When they used to slice themselves, so much blood on blood contact, and you have different wrestlers pointing the finger, and they did traces, and they basically found where it came from. But you're so right. You know, we're in such so many communicable diseases, and the FDA they just approved the Pfizer vaccine last week, so it's not in experimental stages anymore. So big deal, really. The government created it and the government approved it. So how much confidence does that give us in that? I'm I'm with the brother who, we take what the government gives us with a grain of salt, and I believe we're our best advocates. And if they wanted to get us, what we put in our bodies is not half as bad as probably what they're putting in a vaccine. Oh man, it's just a tough area. It's unprecedented. We've never gone there before. How we're employers, and we're telling an employee. I'm just saying the boxing commissions are employers, and they're telling an employee that they have to be vaccinated for employment. That's kind of what's happening around here. I mean, I was watching the news the other day in a nursing home. All the patients have to be vaccinated, and they're having a thing with the staff. There's like 10% that won't get vaccinated, and the state of Massachusetts said that they can lose their jobs over that, and they will. But it's so unprecedented, and I'm not one to take sides with that, man. Just like boxing, I'm riding the fence with that. I just got, my daughter feels better when I hold my grandkids because I'm vaccinated, and that's worth it right there. You can stick me for that alone. So that's as much weight as I'll put on that subject. That's too far political to get into for a boxing fan, man.
Yes, sir.
I agree.
Yes, sir. So we got let's see.
Hey, how about the Brian Castano and Charlo rematch? Is not going to happen now. They say Castano is going to go to Australia and fight Tim Tszyu. Anybody hear anything about that, man? Because I go through boxing.
I heard Castano got a mandatory, and I heard that the IBF supposed to gave Charlo a mandatory too. But if them guys can come to agreement on a rematch,
isn't that ridiculous? Man. I mean, have we been in a situation like that where a fight like of this magnitude, it was this close, this much controversy, it doesn't warrant a rematch, a high dollar rematch? What's the matter with boxing today?
Hey, that was one of the things I said right when the fight was over with. When the fight was over with, and that's this one problem that I had personally with Charlo, is when the fight was over with and they asked Charlo, well, what's next? I expected for him to say an automatic rematch. Like, man, we got to run it again, round 13. But he said, we're going to go back to the drawing board, see what my team say, and then come up with a decision. And I'm like, that didn't sound confident. That didn't sound confident that you wanted the rematch.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some of the greatest fights in the history of boxing have been rematches. Dude, I remember, I'll never forget this as long as I live. Muhammad Ali had just gotten his jaw broken from Ken Norton. He's sitting in the dressing room, and I can't remember the reporter, but he said, well, champ, is this it? You had a great career. You don't have anything to be ashamed of going out like this. And Ali just looked up at him, and his voice goes, how wrong you are. How wrong you are. I want this man again within a year. And man, that was the beginning of a great trilogy. Ali went on with many more trilogies, but if this fight doesn't come to fruition, that's going to be a black eye in boxing. Because when have we seen a match recently that has been so close, has so much controversy, and has warranted a rematch where Jamal Charlo says you're going to have to ask Al about it. It's so. Dude, like you said, the divas are running boxing today. Where are the alpha males? Like, dude, Sugar Ray Robinson loses his first fight to Jake LaMotta. What does he do? 3 weeks later, he rematches him and has a fight in between. I know boxing's not like it used to be, but make it a little bit like it used to be, please.
Exactly. Brandon, with that being said, if Charlo and Castano could come up with a rematch, they can do that rematch without having to see them mandatories, right?
It depends on what the sanctioning bodies say, because the thing is, unification bouts are not mandatory; they're optional. Right. So if you say, "Look, we're going to fight. No one won. We want a rematch," what you can do is you can say, "Look, can you grant us to do this within 6 months?" And then we have to give our mandatories a shot right after that, which is something that usually that's what they'll do. Right. Being that the fight ended in a draw, they'll probably say, look, if you want to do a rematch for a unification, you're going to have to put up some step aside money, which is basically going to pay these mandatories 6 figures to say no, which they can do. But they have to accept it. They don't have to accept it. They can say no. I want my shot. I want what I'm owed. If it was
Right.
me, because the guy Charlo would have to give a shot to is a Russian that could fight. And being that the Castano fight was tough for him, I don't know if he needs a break before he takes on this guy, because this guy can thump. With Castano, Tim Tszyu, I don't know how he's good. I don't know if he's that good, but I think the problem you're going to run into with making a rematch is whenever you have 4 belts on the line, it's hard to give everybody their shot. It's damn near impossible. If you guys remember when Lennox Lewis was the last undisputed champion, he had to give up his belt to give up 2 belts because he couldn't fight everybody, and you really can't fight everybody. So I think if they do get into the ring and we get a undisputed champion, what you're going to immediately see is them give up 3 belts and keep 1 belt. If it should happen, I don't think they're going to have a rematch anytime soon. But if they did, they're not going to keep all 4 belts very long. Same with Canelo and Plant. Whoever wins, they're not keeping the belts more than a year before they start to give them up.
Man, that is such nonsense that we put so much weight in those belts, that we put we put that over what they actually merit, dude. I love to make the comparison to Larry Holmes. The guy never unified the heavyweight title, but yet there were a patch of years there, dude, 7, 5, 7, whatever it was. You ask anybody in the world who was the heavyweight champion of the world, and they would tell you Larry Holmes was. He had that WBC title. He didn't want to go after. He was going to fight John Tate, but then Tate got knocked out by Weaver, and Holmes didn't want another rematch with Weaver. So we knew without any other belt that he was the world heavyweight champion. And even when he didn't want to keep the WBC title, he basically gave it away instead of I forget who they wanted to fight, mandatory. I think it might have been a rematch with Witherspoon, but he said, no, I'm not doing it, man. People know who I am. I don't need your belt. And they did, and the IBF was just coming to fruition. They basically paid Larry Holmes to wear that strap around his waist, and he did, but it didn't really matter because he was the man. And what my point is, the fighter should carry more weight than the titles, especially now with the championship so fragmented in 4 different directions. Who's the champ? Is it the guy that has the most gold over their shoulder, or is it the best fighter in the division? So, bro, I come from a different era, and I just don't understand how they merit these boxers today.
Well, you're 100% correct. I don't disagree with you. I think that's one of the problems with boxing is, back, if we do a little history lesson, up until 1990 when the WBO came out, you had 3 belts, right? Before in 1970s, you had 2 belts. Before that, you had 1 belt. I think people who are big boxing fans, we know who the champ is. We don't need an undisputed championship bout with all 4 belts because we know, hey, Charlo is the super welterweight champ. We're not questioning if he is the number 1 guy in a division. Does he have to be undisputed? No, because you have most of the belts. We see you as being the top guy. I think it's the same thing with the other divisions. We know who the champion is. I think this undisputed shot wouldn't matter because, let's say, for example, if Charlo and Castano fought, Castano becomes undisputed super welterweight champ. He gives up all the belts and keeps none of the belts. And then he says, I'm going to go fight Boots at 154 and Boots beat him. We then know who is the 154 undisputed champ in our books. We don't have to see who has the belts because you beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. That's the way it used to be.
I hate to cut you right there, but I still have to say, after that fight that they had and they went to a draw, maybe it was disputed in some people's minds, but that just warranted a rematch. And I can't give Jamal Charlo the pass and say you're the champ at 154 because you had somebody that came up and most of the fans thought beat you, but yet you're not rematching him. So to me, that's where I throw the belts out the window and I say mano y mano to see who the champion is.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I don't think it'll happen simply because. And this is me. If I'm Castano, I'm thinking, okay, I did a pretty good job, and I had this one ref who said I only won 3 rounds. I mean, I'm from Texas, but if I was Castano, I'm like, no, we're not doing this fight. We're not doing this in Texas. We're gonna do this in Argentina. We're gonna go someplace else to do this rematch. I wouldn't do it in Texas if it was me. Unless they're gonna give you really good money, I wouldn't do it.
But it has to be done. That's my point, man. This is throwing such a cloud over boxing until it's taken care of. And I don't care. Anybody can put Charlo on as high a pedestal as they want. The boxing purist, no, he's not. He does not rule 154 until he gets by Castano.
Yeah, but I don't see a rematch happening though. I just don't see it happening.
That's the problem with boxing today. These fucking fights don't happen. I don't know what to say, man. You know, you know the business of boxing a lot more than I do. I'm a fan of boxing. I want to see these fights happen, and I just don't know why. And I'm not one of these guys you can kick rocks. I'm not going to pay for these pay-per-view fights that you tell me are undisputed championship fights. You know, I'm going to watch all the fights. But they're not going to get one by me, dude. The okie dokie does not get by this character, man. You know, I'm looking at boxing for what it is today.
So Brandon, tell me why you don't see that fight. Why you don't see that fight happening?
Well, I don't see it happening anytime soon because, like Bruce just said, there's a lot of fights that could happen that don't happen. This fight happened. It wasn't the outcome that we want. It was a tough fight for both of them. I don't think they would sit down and say, "Look, let's come to agreement on a rematch." Because if they do, they're gonna. It can't take place in Texas. They're gonna have to give Castano some of the things that he may require for it. Because hey, he came to Texas to fight. Win or lose, it was a draw, and I don't see it. I don't see them running it back anytime soon. I think it'll be one of those things where they'll say, "Look, we tried, it didn't work. We move on with life." And, wow. the thing you gotta realize, boxing. Well, here's the thing you gotta look at.
We said boxing. That we had never seen Frazier and Ali. We would never have seen the Rumble in the Jungle, the Thriller, and we'd never seen the Thriller in Manila. We had never seen Holmes and Ali, the third fight at Shea Stadium. Even Ali and Holmes rematch. I mean, come on, that's what boxing is all about: is the rematches.
But Bruce,
I'm speechless on this one. How can you let that slide?
Because Bruce, all that what you're saying is 50 years ago when there wasn't 4 belts. I mean, you got 4 belts now. Back in the day, you had 2 belts. You had 3 belts in the 80s. So you could have a fight and say, look, we can make the fight happen. This is an era in boxing now where those fighters are going to say, look, I can make a couple of $1 million and take an easy fight. I don't have to have a tough fight to make my money because, and then also, it's also unfortunately an era in boxing where the second you lose, the fans and everyone turns on you.
Maybe now because the fighters aren't promoted correctly, but an L in a fight, a life and death fight was a badge of honor, man. You know, I can name you dozens of fighters who never lost any credibility and went on to bigger and better things with that after that first L. You know, today boxers look at that like it's the plague, like keep that O. Just one more of the things to me that's a problem in boxing today, Brandon.
Well, no, I don't disagree with you. It's a problem in boxing. It's a problem because it's a problem from the fans and it's a problem from the networks because this is an era where now when a fighter loses, it's almost as if though they're automatically considered out of their prime and maybe they should quit. It's literally this thing that you lost a fight, you can't really be that good. And it's unfortunate because it's not true. It's not true at all.
Getting some terrible feedback in there.
Yeah, I think stop now. It's not true at all, but it's unfortunate because you'll see a guy and he'll be undefeated, and the second he loses, all of a sudden the networks and the fans are like, "Oh, he wasn't really that good in the first place," which it shouldn't be that case. It should be that way. You know, I remember when um, I was talking to someone, and you remember when Lennox Lewis lost to Oliver McCall, and then he came back and won. He lost to Hakeem Rock when he came back and won. There are people now
Yeah.
there are people now who will say, well, you lost a fight, you can't be that good, because to them losing a fight must mean you suck. These are not, and unfortunately, that's what's being promoted in boxing is who's undefeated, not necessarily who are the best that are fighting each other.
But all these guys have to do is look at the records of the greatest fighters in history. You don't see any of them with O's on the left side of their name. I mean, you know, it's it's just so basic that you have to taste that. Oh, today these boxers are either the boxers or promoters, whatever it is. But see that they're not fighting for the fans. They're letting these fights that have to be fought just slide by because fans are not a big deal. They're going to put together another fight that's going to make them $1 million. And you know, who gives a shit? The fans want to see the rematch. We got a better rate. We got a better way to go. We go to Australia, you know, and we can go after the Castanos, Mandatory. That's not the way boxing should happen. If I had any say in the matter, I would have the best in each division fighting the best, and you have to deal with the outside promotions. But yeah, I mean, they don't have to be exclusive and just do these in-house fights. That, you know, boxing is a worldwide sport. You know, take these people to different countries. Let these champions get exposure throughout the world, man. You know, this is the king of sports, and it's becoming such a little niche in sports that I go down the street, I ask people what's going on. They don't even know who the heavyweight champion of the world is anymore. They could care less, even if they do know. You know, boxing's just becoming so less and less important these days. Back when you know, the main baddest man in the whole planet was the heavyweight champion of the world. Everybody knew his name, whether it had been Joe Louis, freaking Rocky Marciano, Larry Holmes, Ali, Tyson, all the way on through. But today, nobody even knows who the fucking heavyweight champion is. So that's the sorry state of boxing. I don't know if we're making it better or worse doing these shows, man. I just hope we're bringing it to a broader sense of people, be more open-minded about it, appreciate boxing for what it is, man. Put it on a pedestal, what it once was, because these guys are putting their life on the line, you know, for short change, and they have to be paid well. They have to fight more often, present themselves in a better way, let people know who they are. Dude, I don't know, Brandon. You seem to be more at the helm of boxing today. How can it be improved? I mean, we all know what it should be doing and what's not happening, but how can boxing itself improve for the fans?
I think the only way boxing can improve for the fans is for the fans to demand more. Because if the fans, like, if there's a fight that's happening that we don't want to see, if we don't watch it and the ratings suck, the pay-per-view suck, then the fighters, the promoters, and networks are forced to have to actually earn our money. I think that's the one thing that we as fans should say, look, better fights. Because if you're going to charge me $75 for pay-per-view, the pay-per-view should be worth it. It should be something where it should be on basic television. I think that's the one thing that I would do. The second thing I would do is I would have better transparency when it comes to the rankings. You know, the rankings don't always make sense. If you look at the 4 big bodies and you look at the top 10 rankings and you look at who's the interim champion, the super champion, this champion, if you're not a diehard boxing fan, it's going to confuse the hell out of you because you can't understand where it is and why it is. I think the other thing that I would do if I was trying to make boxing better for the fans is I would hold fighters accountable. To me, and this is just my opinion, and you guys can hear me, by the way, right?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. I was making sure. If you are a champion, you have to fight somebody who is top 5. You got to give them their shot within a year. There's none of this whole mandatory rematches. There's none of this hogging the belt, taking easy fights. Give the guys their shot. If there's 4 belts out there, there should be 4 title defenses against the top guys out there every year without question. There shouldn't be this whole we're sitting on it, we're doing this. And the reason why I say this is because if you guys think about it, if you look at the WBC, right? Look at since Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's first fight, there's only been Luis Ortiz who's gotten a title shot. And then went back to Fury, and now we're hoping to get this fight in October. That means that for over 2 years, you've had guys sitting there waiting to get their shot at the title. And that's not fair to them. And I think give the guys their shot. If they suck and lose, they got their shot. That's the one thing that was different back in the day is the Alis, the Fraziers, the Nortons, the Foremans, the Leonards. They gave their opponents their shot. And the opponent was a no-name guy. The guy still got his shot at least. They deserve it. Give it to them. Because then fans will appreciate when you have a big-name fight versus, you're avoiding these guys to get the money. You're the champion for a reason. And again, travel outside the state, travel outside the country and go fight. You're the world champion, travel the world and fight. Because like you said, boxing's a global sport. Keep it a global sport. But unfortunately, that's just not what's happening nowadays.
Bro, I just pulled this up. This is the Ring Magazine's the heavyweight ratings from 1992. Check this out. Evander Holyfield's on top, and it's followed by Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe, Ray Mercer, Razor Ruddock, George Foreman, Tim Witherspoon, Lennox Lewis, Tony Tucker, James Buster Douglas, and Francesco Damiani. Then on the lower tier, you still got Larry Holmes, you got Tommy Morrison, you got Michael Mora. I mean, what direction could the division go in back then? Everywhere you look, you had potential greatness. Exactly, killers. So that's the problem that's another one of the problems today. These fighters aren't the tough guys just aren't there. The name fighters, any one of those guys I just named could main event a fight and imagine fighting each other, which they did. That's what's not happening today, and that's just another thing that's giving a boxing a black eye. Like Mad Chad says out there, the best have to fight the best, and it's just not happening. Too much business involved. I have no idea how to negotiate these fights. How you can get Bob Arum to talk to talk to Eddie, and and you can get them to. It's just too crazy for me. I just want to see the fights as a fan, and we're not seeing them because it's just. We don't know what's going on in the back, in the back room. We're hearing all about fighters getting backdoor money and upfront money not to fight, dude. I don't care about that. That's too much information. I'm not in that pay class. I just want to see these guys get in the ring. I want to see the advertisements for it. I don't want to see the Tyson Fury Wilder fight canceled. That's going to be a great night for the heavyweight division. It should tear it wide open. But everybody's saying don't count on it. That fight's not going to happen. Come on, man, please make that fight happen. Make all these fights happen. That's all that a boxing fan can ask for. Regardless of what's happening. Back where you're at, Brandon. I know you sound like a sharp pencil. It sounds like you know a lot more about the business of boxing than I do. And we just want to see these fights happen. We want to see cross promotional fights. It has to happen. We're like Mad Chad's saying up there, man. We're in the shaman generation.
Man, shout out to Mad Chad Boxing, man, sports, man. I appreciate you for coming through anyway, bro. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Hey, Coach got up out of here, but I want to talk this too, man. Hey, how you guys feel about one of the next big fights coming up? Jamal Herring and Shakur Stevenson fight.
That should be a great fight, man. I just lowball Jamal Herring like they say they were going to do, man. That was an insult, telling him he was only worth 37% of the purse. He's a champion. He's had 3 defenses. He's a vet. I mean, it's crazy. Shakur Stevenson hasn't really shown us anything except that he can hold on pretty well. He's a great amateur. He's got so much potential, but giving him the A side in that fight is ridiculous.
No, they can't. I think they did a purse bid on that. They both came up with They came up with an agreement. They both gonna take $1.5 million apiece.
All right. The last I heard was this crazy split that they had going on.
Yeah. It was supposed to be 65-35. Shakur way. That's the first one I had heard. But yeah, they came out with an agreement. They both come up with 1 point. They both fight for 1.5 apiece, and the fight gonna be held in Atlanta. Who you got winning this fight, Bruce?
You know, I'm going to have to go with Shakur Stevenson winning it, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy fight. It'd be a great fight. You know, let it be. I haven't really paid a lot of attention to it. You know, with what's been going on. I'm glad it's signed.
What about you, Brandon? Who you got over the Shakur Stevenson and Jamal Herring fight?
I got Shakur as well. I think Jamal Herring's a good boxer, but I think Shakur is going to beat him because Shakur is a little bit younger. It's going to be a little bit fresher. I think this is one of the fights where it's Shakur's fight to lose. I think if he comes in, sticks his jab, and does what he normally does, this is not going to be a knockout, drag-out fight. I think this is going to be one of those boxing purist fights. But I think Shakur is going to probably win like 8 rounds to 4. I think Herring will do a little bit, but I don't see Herring winning this fight.
Okay, with that being said, and we talking about Father Time catching up with people. With that being said, would that be an excuse or a way out for Jamal Herring, saying that he's fighting a younger guy who's probably like 10 years younger, 10 years his age?
In my opinion, no fighter has an excuse. In my opinion, if you accept the fight, you train for the fight, and you lose, the better man won. That's all it is. I don't believe in I fought a younger guy. Now, maybe he was a younger guy, and he beat you because you weren't expecting his speed, or you just couldn't keep up with him. That happens. That's just a fact. That's not an excuse. You don't get to use that as why you lost, because that's why you lost. You're just stating a fact from that. You know, it's like if you say, well, I'd have been 12 years younger. Well, look, you're not 12 years younger. You're 12 years older. If you go into the ring, you accept the fight. If you lose, take the L and move on. Stop making excuses. One thing I hate about a lot of boxers is they have a reason for everything when it comes to them losing.
Right. Mad Chad Boxing says he got Shakur 1 and 2. Okay, now do this. Let's see. Okay. I don't want to, let me see how I say this. Okay, if Shakur wins this fight outright, if he outright just dominates Jamal Herring, could that put Jamal Herring into retirement?
And like the brother just said, it's not really for us to say.
Okay, but I'm saying, listen. Would the boxing critics be heavy on Jamal Herring if he gets beat by a younger Shakur Stevenson? And Shakur only has, I think 15 fights already? 15 fights total under his belt, pro fights under his belt. So if Jamal Herring gets outright beaten, man, it's just like the brother Mad Chad Boxing say, out with the old and in with the new. Because I really think, I don't know, Jamal Herring, he impressed me in his last fight, though. His last fight, he got the stoppage. But before then, I kind of was disappointed in the last couple of his fights. That's good. That's gonna be a good one to see. Good one to see. Good one to see. Yes. So shit. Then we discussed a little bit of everything.
Well, here's my response to your question.
Okay.
Shakur Stevenson is an Olympian. He's a former featherweight champion, I think. And let's be honest, he's a great boxer. No one is sitting here thinking, oh my God, he sucks as a boxer. If he beats Herring, it's more like we kind of we kind of expected you to be able to do this given your pedigree. And losing to a great fighter that we expect you to lose to isn't a bad thing. You know, I don't think it'll push Harrington to retire. I don't think it'll say, well, you should retire now because you lost to Shakur Stevenson. I think if he gets outclassed, it may be, well, maybe you should consider walking away in a couple of years or change your trainer, change something up because you weren't competitive. But losing to the better man or losing to a guy with that kind of credentials is not a bad thing. I think when a fighter loses to a fighter they should win, they should have beaten, is when you consider retirement. When you get beaten by guys that like I think Bruce brought it up earlier. When Mike Tyson lost to Trevor Brevin, it was like you shouldn't even be in the fight in the first place because you are no longer float like a butterfly, sting like a bee when this guy is beating you like that. And with Holmes, it was basically saying, Ali, you shouldn't be here. And I think when it gets to that point is when you got to walk away from it. And I don't know if Jamel Herring should be walking away from it. He loses to Shakur Stevenson. No, I think if it's, and I don't foresee a brutal beatdown, but if it's a brutal beatdown, I definitely think he should maybe start considering getting his exit plan in order.
Right. I understand. Let's see. There was something else I wanted to discuss. Man, there was something else I wanted to discuss with you guys. So, okay, let me get you guys' opinion. So, like Bruce Gold said a little bit earlier about Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Brandon, do you think we really gonna get that fight? Do you think we really gonna get the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder 3? Or do you believe something's gonna happen, mysteriously happen, that we don't have that fight?
I think we'll get the fight. I really think the fight will happen. I think though that, and this is just my opinion, I think the fight's going to happen in about 6 weeks. I think October 9th. I think the fight happens. I don't think it's going to be this climactic, entertaining fight as people are hoping it's going to be, because you're going to be looking at two guys who haven't fought since their last fight in February. So I don't know how prepared these guys are going to be. I don't think they'll be in their best form. Me personally, I just want this fight to get over with so we can stop talking about it, because this has been like the longest rematch in the history of boxing. I think it's been like I've never seen a rematch that has taken this long to happen. And by God, I'm tired of it.
But look at the undercard though, man. Look at the undercard. It's stacked. I don't think I've seen an undercard like that in recent memory or history. You know, we got Frank Sanchez and Effie Ajagba on there, man. We got the rematch with Helenius and Kowalski, and then you're gonna have Jared Anderson on the card. And the sensational Puerto Rican knockout artist Belanga's on the card, man. This is going to be an event card. You know, I hope that main event is good, but that's not going to kill the night for me. Fact, dude. That's like a Don King card, man. That's like Don King bringing those freaking Mad Dog heavyweight cards back in the old days. This is going to bust up the heavyweight division. We're going to see a lot of talk in the heavyweights. It's going to open up a lot of avenues. There's going to be a lot of O's that are going to become L's. It's going to be entertaining, and I think there's a female fighter on the card too. I can't remember the whole thing, but it's going to be super entertainment. So that fight better happen. They better not cancel that at the last minute, man. I've been on this roller coaster for a couple of months now. And I want to stay on top right now. Keep that fight going.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
agree. I mean, the undercard is good. This is a good fight. I just want it to happen because, like I said, this has been one of those things where it's been, like I said, it's been so much up and down with it. The undercard, which I hope the undercard stays the same. Nobody falls out or anything. But it's also one of those things where I'm like, I just want it to happen because it's been almost 2 years of every imaginable conversation you could have. And I
I
think it's
hear
time
you
to get
on
it over with.
Didn't have.
Oh man, yes, get this fight over with, please.
Yeah.
And
That's all I want.
with a definitive ending. Let's not call for a fight number 4 here.
No, no. If here's my thing, I said, Bruce, and then you guys are gonna have to let me go because I got to take care of something. Here's my thing.
Cool.
If it ends in a draw, I don't want to talk about nothing else. I don't want to talk about the fight. I don't want. If it ends in a draw, I'm not joking when I say I am done. Like, no fight, no nothing. Let it be. Take the draw and move on.
Okay.
No more
And what if-
YouTube, that's for sure.
Okay, what if Wilder wins in a knockout and then Tyson Fury wants a rematch?
No,
Well,
that's it.
It's
This
not
is
gonna
it.
happen.
And I have to go too, man. I really appreciate you guys having me on the show. I had a blast over here, man.
Yeah, me too. For the love of God, no more rematches with these two.
Right. I appreciate you guys coming out, man. I appreciate you guys coming out.
No problem. I will catch up with you guys later. It was a pleasure meeting you, Bruce. We'll keep in touch.
Same here, brother. Peace.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Basement, thanks for having me on, man. Peace.
Hey, all right, no problem. Thanks for coming on, Bruce. And with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this show on up. I'd like to give a mass shout out to my good brother Bruce Goals that was just jumped off. Appreciate him for joining us, coming through with his boxing knowledge. The good brother Brandon coming through. Hey, he's a good brother. Hey, appreciate him coming through with all his boxing knowledge and coming through. I appreciate the good brother Black Star Sports TV 2.0 for coming through. Subscribe to my brother's channel, man. Give my brother some more subs. And I salute and appreciate Coach Sims for coming out. And I definitely couldn't do it without my guys that was in the chat. Mad Chad Boxing Sports TV. Let's see. Let's go through. Unrivaled Boxing Talk. Appreciate you guys for coming through. Sir Ken, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for coming through. Bona Cuckoo, thanks for coming through, good brother. First time me seeing you come through. Yes, sir. La Madrina, thanks for coming through like always and giving your support. I appreciate it. God Body Sports and News, I appreciate you for coming through. TS Boxing, I appreciate you for coming through good too. Hey, and if I missed anybody, man, hey, it's not about fault. I've been out for a minute. Hey, boxing was getting kind of crazy, but I had to take a step back and, focus on some other things, man, because boxing really wasn't going over. Conversations was repeatedly saying the same things, what we want to see, what we not seeing, what we want to see. And seemed like boxing's been back on the road for a minute, so I didn't get back into it and get back into it. So I appreciate everybody for coming through and listening to me. Your boy Basement Boxing Talk today. And look for me coming back next Saturday, man. The usual time be 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. 2 p.m. On YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch, however you listening to me. Smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell anybody about the channel, man. And I appreciate everybody for coming out, man. It's your boy Basement Boxing Talk coming to you live, man. See you next week. Peace, and we out.